Today we are making unique Christmas wreaths using Dollar Tree supplies. I hope you enjoy. For this Dollar Tree Christmas wreath, we are starting off with a 12-inch wood wreath base. I'm going to give this entire piece 2 coats of a white acrylic paint on all sides and let that dry. We're also going to be using one of Dollar Tree's MDF snowflakes. I'm going to paint this with a blue chalk paint. The color is Cascade. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to start off by painting all of the inside edges, then the outside edges, and then I'm going to paint the front and back. This will take at least 2 coats. Once that dries, this is how it's looking. It's so pretty. Now we're going to take our white base and we're going to be attaching this to the top of the snowflake. To do that, I'm going to use some Gorilla Super Glue gel and place that on all of the areas where the wreath base form will touch the snowflake. Then you'll want to press that firmly and let it set for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. This is going to give it a nice strong hold so the 2 pieces don't come apart. To create a hanger, I'm using some silver cording, and I'm just going to double knot that on one side and add a little bit of hot glue to make sure it stays in place. Then I could double knot it on the other side once I determine how long I want my hanger to be. Then I can cut my excess cording off. We're now going to be using some of Dollar Tree's snowflake LED lights. This comes with 10 lights in it. And I want the battery pack to be at the bottom, so I'm going to start at the bottom and hot glue the light facing inward. Now originally I was going to measure about 3 inches and place each of the lights, but then I decided it would be best if I go ahead and take the lights and put them all the way around so I can make sure they're evenly spaced, and also to make sure that I can keep some of that cording pretty tight. So we're going to hot glue each one of those, and you do have to hold it in place for maybe like 30 seconds to 45 seconds to make sure it's going to stay in place. This is how it's looking so far. Now we're going to use some of Dollar Tree's large snowflakes. These come 6 in a pack, but you will need 10 of these. We're going to be gluing it right there in that circle dot and kind of pay attention to which way the snowflake is going, the design. We're going to hot glue that to the white wreath base form, and then we're going to overlap it just a little bit where the other snowflake is, but they're going in the middle of each of those snowflake lights. We'll continue to do that until we have the entire wreath base covered. Just be careful when you're turning it around that you hold on to your battery pack, because at the time I wasn't sure where I wanted to place that battery pack. Now we're going to take some of Dollar Tree's smaller snowflakes. These come 10 in a pack, and we're going to place these right in the middle where the 2 larger snowflakes meet. So they're actually going to be almost directly above your lights. I'm using Gorilla Hot Glue, which is a pretty strong glue. Now I would not store this in a hot place in the off season because hot glue will tend to come off. Once you have that covered, we're going to use one of Dollar Tree's gorgeous metal snowflake ornaments. Now I did want to cut that off where the ornament was hanging, so I took my 10 snips and kind of tried to round that off to make it match the other end. Then I can hot glue this directly to the center. Then I'm going to take my hairdryer and try to remove a lot of those glue strands. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to put the battery pack in the middle on the back, but I decided to do it at the bottom so that it would be easy to access this and turn it on. I'm just going to glue that right at the bottom, and I also kind of glued a little bit of the cording off to the left so that it wouldn't hang down, and this is how it turned out. I found this wood wreath form a little while back at Dollar Tree. This measures around 9 inches. We're also going to use an ornament that I found at Dollar General for $1. I am going to take the ribbon that you would hang the ornament up with and untie that knot and use the ribbon to tie this directly onto the top of the wreath. Now I do kind of want it to be center of the wreath. I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to hold that in place. I'm also using some greenery that I found at Walmart for 98 cents. These do come apart if you pull the tape at the bottom into individual stems. I'm going to bend this to form the shape at the top of the wreath, trim down the stem, and then tuck that down into the wreath form. I'm going to do that at the bottom as well. Now you could add a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place if you like. I'm going to overlap these stems until I get them as full as I want on that side. I started off with 6, but I do go back and add a 7th one at the top. I'm also going to use some of these gorgeous deep burgundy berry pick from Hobby Lobby. You can always catch them when they're on sale, and you can pull these pieces apart too. Then I can tuck those down in between the greenery into the wreath base, and I'm going to use about 4 pieces of this, and this is how it turned out. Dollar Tree carries large ornaments in a pack of 7, and I bought 2 of each of these colors, silver, green, and red. They also have a smaller version. These come 12 in a pack, and I bought 1 of each of these. And for $1.99, you could find a 20 count of minis at Rose's. I think I also saw this at Dollar General. We're going to be using the larger ornaments first and a 14-inch wired wreath form from Dollar Tree. Get something with a little bit of height so that you can prop your wreath form up off of your table, because we're going to be gluing the ornament to the outside section. Now, if you're going to be storing this somewhere hot, like your attic in the off season, you would definitely want to use a more permanent adhesive. But for video purposes, I'm going to use hot glue. I'm going to alternate the colors as well as some of the glittery ornaments. So I started off with a plain green, then a glitter silver, then a red. Then the next section I'll do a glitter green, a plain silver, and a glitter red. And I'm just going to keep alternating that until I have all of these large ornaments glued to the outside of the wreath form. When it gets to the last one, I will have to split the difference because 2 won't fit there. Then I'm going to start on the next section, still using those large ornaments, and I'm going to actually glue these to the previous ornaments that are already on there. I'm going to change the color pattern up a little bit and do a glittery red, a plain silver, a glittery green, then the plain red, glittery silver, and plain green, and continue this pattern until I have all of those ornaments glued to that second section. I had 3 red, 2 silver, and 2 green left over, so if you did yours all in one color, you would only need 5 packs. Now I do want to fill in some of these gaps, and I'm going to use some of those smaller ornaments for that. I'm actually going to glue these to the larger ornaments and place them in between. This time I'm going to use a green, red, and silver pattern and do that until I have those glued all the way around. Continuing with the small ornaments, I am going to place those in between the 2 small ornaments that I just glued on, gluing these to the individual ornaments. For this pattern, I'm going to do green, silver, and red, and I'll do that all the way around the wreath form. Periodically, I will take my hair dryer just to remove a lot of those glue strands. For the inner part of the wreath, I'm going to use some of those mini ornaments, and since I only have red and green, I don't have any silver in that, I'm just going to alternate the red and green all the way around the inside. In the container of the mini counts, there are various shapes and sizes, so I'm going to add some of those throughout to fill in any gaps. And this is how it turned out. For this project, you'll need 2 of Dollar Tree's microfiber duster mop pads. If you pull the fibers back, you can see where they are sewn to the pad. We're going to cut this right in the middle, directly in half, but you don't want to cut where the fibers are sewn on there. You could then take that section, separate it, and cut those in half to make 4 strips, but I used 2 of the mop pads because I wanted my wreath to be nice and fluffy. We're going to use one of Dollar Tree's smallest wired wreath forms. They come 2 in a pack, and on the back side of the wreath form, we're going to start by gluing the mop pad to itself and the wreath form, then wrap it around, making sure you overlap the previous piece and that you are gluing it on the back side. So all of your hot glue will be on the back side of the wreath form. Then you can take your next section and continue that by overlapping the first section, wrap that, and then you will continue to wrap it until you have the entire wreath form covered. You will have a small piece left over on the 4th piece, so it doesn't take 4 full pieces, but it does take the majority of it. So it's just a very small piece left over. Again, we're going to hot glue that on the back side. And then I took my little mini vacuum and kind of went over it to make sure I got any of the loose fibers off. Now we're going to take 2 greenery pieces, and I believe these came from Walmart. They have these gorgeous frosted pine cones on it. I am going to bend that to form the shape of the bottom of the wreath. Do that for both sides. Once I know exactly where they're going to overlap, I'm going to trim that excess bottom wire off with some tin snips and use some hot glue to attach these to the wreath form. Making sure I put a generous amount at the bottom and then a little bit at the top to make sure it stays in place. Then I have these white berries. This is a pick from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to pull 2 strands of that off, bend those, and attach those on top of the greenery. Now, I don't like the center section where the 2 overlap, so luckily I had another pick with the same frosted pine cone, hot glued it to cover that section up. I found the most adorable owl pick at Hobby Lobby, 50% off, but if you want to do this in all Dollar Tree items, Dollar Tree does carry an owl ornament. I'm going to cut that stem off so that he will sit directly in the middle of the wreath. I can tuck that in and hot glue it, fluff out his feathers, and this is how he turned out. It is absolutely precious. I hope you enjoyed today's projects, and if you have a favorite, please let me know in the comments section down below because I always love to know which one is your favorite. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd love for you to click that subscribe button right below the video. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I'll see you guys next time.